Hi my dear colleagues and friends, welcome to another video in our Moodle training course. In this video we will be configuring our grade setup. Now it is very important to configure your grade setup first before we start designing our LMS learning module in Moodle, simply because one important component of the LMS learning module are the assessments, and these assessments is going to link directly into the grading. Now it's important that your grade setup is placed before you start adding assessments, so that each and every assessment will be assigned to a particular grading component in our grading system. Now, before we move on to actually configuring our grade setup, let us review first our grading system in Mater Dei College. We all know that we have three grading components: the quizzes, participation, and major exam. Besides that, we also know that we have two grading periods. And for each grading period, which is midterm and final, they also have their own set of grading components, namely quizzes, participation, and major exam. So practically, what we have is 6 categories, such that we have 3 grading components within 2 grading periods. Why is this important to know? It's because when we configure our grade setup in Moodle, we have to think of it this way, that each and every single assessment component has to belong to 1 grading period and 1 grading component. Now let's proceed with the actual configuration of our grade setup. Here I am viewing once again my data structures course for first semester 2020. To start configuring your grade setup, you go to the left side on your navigation bar. There is an item called grades. From grades, you can go to setup. So based on our grading system, the setup is that we are going to have 2 main categories, midterm and final, and in each main categories we will have 3 subcategories which will be representing the 3 grading components. So here we'll add a category. This category is named midterm, and we'll use the aggregation to be natural. And the grade type is value. For now we'll not use any scale because we have not set up the scales yet. And so we are also going to give it a weight, but the weight will be added later once all of them is being set up. Okay, so we have our midterm. Now let's add another category. We call this final. So same thing, no scale. And we have to make sure that it's not part of any main category, just the data structure of the course. So here we have midterm and final category. Now for each of these 2 grading periods, we will add the 3 grading components. So add a grade component category. We call this quizzes, and make sure that our parent category is midterm. Then do the same thing again for participation and examination. We also have to do the same thing for the final grading period. So now we have our grade setup. We have midterm, and under midterm we have quizzes, participation, and examination. And then final, under final we have quizzes, participation, and examination. From here, we can now control our weights. So we know that midterm and final have the same weight, so they will have 50-50 in terms of weight. So just leave them as it is, or you can put 50 for both of them. That would also be fine. If you leave them untouched, they will just automatically be divided even. But just to make sure we're seeing what we want to see, so I'll put 50 in here. For my quizzes, participation, and examination, of course, every one of us will have our different set of weights for each grading component depending on our course, the way we see it fit. In my case, I will have 40% on my participation and 30% for both quizzes and examination. So I'll do this also with the other one. There you go. Don't forget to save changes. So now we have our grade setup with weights this time. So now that's all there is to it. We have set up our grading system. If you take a look at our grade view, we now have this table. So the list of students' names will be here, and we have our midterm block and final block, and each block we have quizzes, participation, and exam, and we will have totals for quizzes, totals for participation, and totals for exam, and of course total for the midterm period, and also here the same thing. So that is it for configuring your grade setup.